Welcome all to the Dracion podcast. This is the third episode where I have again Jeff Shelton, and I cannot wait to dive into the topic of air cannon tanks with him.
Well, I want to tell you that I'm running out of money having to pay people to say nice things about me. But thank you, Connor.
So Jeff, what are your general comments on air tank codes, specifically the ASME and the CE codes?
I've been to many different cement plants. And I'm going to tell you, you go to one cement plant and they take it seriously, and the next ones, they never test them. And I think that the plants that don't test the air cannon tanks, many of the tanks are now out of ASME code, and that puts them at great liability because of the fact that if there's an accident, and there have been accidents with air cannons, because an air cannon can be a dangerous item because of the amount of force that's exerted from the air cannon when it's discharged. So it's important to keep your air cannon tank in code.
Does it matter if for your air tank code, if the air cannon design is internal or external?
Actually, yes, it does. An internal code cannon is primarily mounted horizontally. And we, for the most part, say horizontal is not a good way to do it because that gives the moisture of the system ability to build up on the bottom of the tank, and it really makes the need for an automatic drain even more important. But most air cannons don't have the automatic drains.
How important is moisture in an air cannon and the air cannon tank?
Well, believe it or not, moisture is more times than not overlooked. Moisture will impact the ASME code and also the air cannon performance. One of the things that people don't understand, that especially when you fill a tank full of air, it will allow the moisture to condensate and will increase the amount of moisture that's in the tank. But moisture in the tank decreases how hard it hits, right? So the air cannon will not clean as effectively as it can if you eliminate the moisture. Moisture is big on the air cannon performance, and quite frankly, moisture is the death of many air cannons. One of the things that everybody needs to know, that when you fill a tank and it discharges out through there, there will be condensation, regardless of what you do about the moisture, because the air will lower as it discharges and will form moisture. And it also impacts the life of the nozzle because the moisture on the nozzle coats it and gives build up a place to build up on, and it is a big problem. And it's one of the reasons why we always recommend a water separator to take care of the moisture. Now, let's be clear about a water separator. It improves moisture, but it doesn't completely eliminate the impact, but it does greatly reduce it. The water separators that we use are high efficiency, 99%. And I'm just going to tell you, 99% water equals greater strength of hit, the impulse hitting, and it reduces maintenance, and it increases the life of the air cannon tank and the nozzle.
Does false air impact the tank code at all?
False air is something so often people overlook. Many times people put a thermal safety shield on, and it leaks air out all the time. You know, one of the things that I've seen, and I've been to air cannons in virtually every continent because I've been involved so long in air cannons, a couple of things that I've never seen in an air cannon. Number one, I've never seen an air cannon that doesn't leak. And when it leaks, it allows it to recirculate. Even if it's negative pressure, people go, no, there's no circulation. But many times we find air cannon tanks that are completely full of material. Material comes back through the cannon, gets into the tank, and when it's mixed with moisture, it accelerates the corrosion and reduces the life of the tank code because One of the most important things is maintaining cone is the wall thickness, so corrosion is very important. Moisture also increases corrosion throughout the entire system. The tank doesn't corrode away, but the connecting nozzles and everything does. So yes, false air is not your friend, it is your enemy. We believe so strongly in testing air cannons. Now, we don't have the capability to say that tank is in code. We have the ability to give you our opinion. If we give you an opinion and we inspect your tanks every year, which will include visual inspection, but we need to know also how well the air cannon's working. So if you have an air cannon that continues to fail and gets material back in the tank, whoa, guys, you better stop. And what we're going to do is we're going to offer a service which we combine with our walk the tower service. Well, we will develop a list of all the air cannons that you have, and we'll inspect the connection of the nozzle to the tank and then also the tank. One of the things that people do that is not good is they lubricate the system. We haven't touched on the air cylinder or the air tank or the solenoid valve, but if you lubricate it, it washes the pre-lube out. If you buy up-to-date modern technology, they're pre-lubricated for the life of the system. What's the life of the system? Well, we give a 10-year guarantee, but not if you're lubricating it, because too much lubricant's not good, not enough lubricant's not good. You have to do it just right. And how many people know exactly what's just right? Because it changes based on the water quality and operational cycle. You know, I will tell you that I was at a plant once. I walked up and almost had a lost time accident because around the air cannon was so slippery because it was blowing the lubricant out. I almost slipped and fell. But because I'm Jeff Shelton and have superior balance, I was able to not fall. So we didn't have a lost time accident, but it was pretty close. It was pretty close. So too much lubricant is not good, as not enough is not good. You cannot afford to let your system go dry. But if you pre-lubricate everything, it's good. When we walk the tower, it's different from when anybody else does. When one of our competitors walks the tower, it's code for, I'm going to justify replacement of your system. Our goal is to find a way to utilize as much of your existing investment as you can. Now, a couple of things that I'm going to tell you right now, which will be in our recommendations. Cannons should not be mounted horizontal. And if you're going to mount the cannon horizontal and you want your air tank to live, you better talk about an air cannon tank that's made out of stainless steel that resists the corrosion. If you have a horizontal tank, which is primarily the way many of them are installed because it reduces the installation cost. But we have a couple of sayings that we live by at Draceon. One, it doesn't matter how powerful your air cannon is if it's not working. And if it's worth buying an air cannon, it's worth installing it right. The other thing that we look at when we do it is how accessible are the air cannons for maintenance. You have to be able to access your air cannon for maintenance. If you protect your air cannon will protect you. Modern technology exists so you can install all your air cannons so where they're remotely mounted and so maintenance can be safely done and access is available. One of the things that I've found many times that plants have too many air cannons and that volume is your friend when it comes to cleaning.
Well, sir, thank you very much for your time. And I bet a lot of people have learned a lot of valuable insights on the tank codes and everything.
Draceon tells you what we believe. If we believe it, we guarantee it.